Our number 1 has been staffed, and our 5 has been staffed.
I'm going to call from Washington. I have a situation with American to learn a possible hijack.
What's going on, Betty? Aircraft is erratic again. Problem, very erratic. Betty, talk to me. Betty, are you there? Betty? Betty?
A plane just What? It's a 737.
What?
Like the World Trade
Who are you
Center.
talking to?
Oh, God. Oh, my God.
United 175, New York. We have some problems over here right now. We might have a hijack over here, 2 of them.
Jules, this is Marion. Listen, on an airplane that's been hijacked, and things don't go well, and it's not looking good. I just want you to know I absolutely love you. I want you to do good. So have a good time. Same to my parents and everybody. And I just totally love you, and I'll see you later, Jessica. Bye, babe.
What are those people going to do? All the elevators are blocked out.
Oh my God. So both towers are now.
Okay, I got an aircraft 6 miles east of the White House.
Hello?
Crystal City, just north of Crystal City.
Just to the north of your town.
Yeah, stop all departures.
Combat boots are on the rocky ground of Afghanistan tonight, the beginning of an important new phase of Operation Enduring Freedom. CBS News has confirmed that some of the U.S. Army's best trained soldiers are now in country.
You're going to see U.S. Army Rangers and SEALs and other special units get on the ground, root these people out of caves and kill them at close range. It will be very dangerous work, but these are enormously well-trained, well-equipped, and determined people that we're putting in action.
We're just now being told, Senator Edwards, that Pentagon sources have confirmed that the attack, the U.S. strike, has in fact begun.
We can now report that American commandos are in the midst of their first raid into Taliban-held territory inside Afghanistan.
Special Operations Forces, including U.S. Army Rangers, deployed to Afghanistan. They attacked and destroyed targets associated with terrorist activity and Taliban command and control.
We did not ask for this mission, but we will fulfill it. We defend not only our precious freedoms, but also the freedom of people everywhere to live and raise their children free from fear. My fellow citizens, at this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger. On my orders, coalition forces have begun striking selected targets of military importance to undermine Saddam Hussein's ability to wage war. These are opening stages of what will be a broad and concerted campaign. More than 35 countries are giving crucial support, from the use of naval and air bases to help with intelligence and logistics to the deployment of combat units. Every nation in this coalition has chosen to bear the duty and share the honor of serving in our common defense. To all the men and women of the United States Armed Forces now in the Middle East, the peace of a troubled world and the hopes of an oppressed people now depend on you. That trust is well placed. The enemies you confront will come to know your skill and bravery. The people you liberate will witness the honorable and decent spirit of the American military.
This old cowboy, this old cowboy rides away.
Bravo Battery, 1st 178th Field Artillery, Vikings. 1st 178th Field Artillery, South Carolina National Guard, was reorganized in early 2004. The old Alpha Battery now is the Alpha Company in Welford and reclassified as engineers, which would be helpful later. Bravo Battery was in Spartanburg, South Carolina. We moved to Clinton, South Carolina, and most of the 1st 178th was now located in the lower part of the state of South Carolina. After this reorganization, in early 2004, and our first annual training, we were alerted we would be deploying in support of the global war on terrorism to Iraq for convoy security. Alpha Company, the engineers I mentioned earlier, were now back with us. Alpha Battery and Bravo Battery, the old Alpha Battery, all combined to make Bravo Battery of the 1st 178th. We organized in South Carolina, went through all of our soldier readiness, got everything ready to go, said goodbye to our families, and in July of 2004, we did our final dotted I's and crossed T's to get ready for the deployment. Boarded a plane in Columbia, South Carolina to head to New Jersey to complete our training so we'd be ready for the deployment. We're heading to Fort Dix, New Jersey. While we're at Fort Dix, we hit the ground running. Vaccinations, classes, more vaccinations, more classes. Then we hit ranges and ranges and ranges and ranges after ranges. It was extremely stressful. This was the time we're getting ready to deploy in 2004. IEDs were going crazy in Iraq, roadside bombs. This was an extremely stressful moment. One of the first deployments out of South Carolina in a combat arms environment. We had a lot of training to go through, a lot of kinks to work out, a lot of leadership changes in the NCO ranks and the officer ranks, just getting everybody where they needed to be. Fort Dix was very challenging. For the cadre there that trained us, most of them had never seen combat, which showed a lot and was extremely stressful for us. When Bravo Battery was out in the field at Fort Dix, going through one of the ranges, we were spending about a few days out there, and during that time, the rest of the battalion decided to have a little cookout, and apparently alcohol is involved. And this story goes on to the Washington Post due to the brawl that ensued after the consumption of said alcohol. This was kind of a black eye on the battalion, which we're going to make up for big time. After all the training, the craziness at Fort Dix, we're finally heading to Kuwait to get ready for more training. Once in Kuwait, we landed at Camp Beering, and it was hot. Very, very, very hot. I can't explain. Actually, I can't explain. It was about 130 to 140 degrees hot. And we were going to do more ranges. Get some training in while we're in Kuwait. We're stationed out of Kuwait. We're going to be running missions into Iraq, sustainment missions, protecting the convoys going across the border, going to every base in Iraq. While we're training for our mission, somewhat new, we thought it was new, we're armoring our vehicles, getting them ready. The Humvees we had did not have turret armor. The doors were welded on. Eventually, you couldn't even turn the turret. If an incident happened, you just had to pray that it was in your field of fire. But while training in Kuwait and starting to do a very few missions and taking in the facilities in the wonderful world of Kuwait, because it was nice in Kuwait before we had to go to the border, a unit from Rock Hill decided to refuse a mission because they weren't properly equipped and they didn't have the armor capable, what they thought, to do the mission because of the IED threat.
U.S. military officials are investigating a group of American soldiers in Iraq who refused to follow an order to deliver supplies because they thought the mission was too dangerous. CBS News national security correspondent David Martin has the latest from the Pentagon. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Harry. That platoon involved in last week's alleged mutiny has now been broken up, with the soldiers assigned to different units while two investigations proceed, one into their refusal to obey an order, the other into the condition of the trucks they were driving.
The soldiers, members of the 343rd Quartermaster Company, balked at driving a convoy of fuel trucks because they said the vehicles were in poor condition without any armor to protect them from the ever-present threat of ambushes. The general in charge of resupply missions in Iraq has ordered the unit to stand down until all the vehicles can be inspected and repaired.
We will also assess armor protection for each of their vehicles and make an assessment to provide additional steel plating if it's required. I estimate that this process will take 10 to 14 days.
The congressman who represents the unit's home district in South Carolina says the Army has as many questions to answer about the condition of the trucks as the soldiers have to answer about their alleged mutiny.
The mission that unit refused, ours took it with homemade armor. A successful mission. The lead vehicle, the Lieutenant Colonel McCarty, our battalion commander, he took the helm, said, "This mission's dangerous. I'm going to be at the front." My mistrust in the leadership in this battalion stopped there. That man showed me what he was, a true leader. He would do the job his men would do. He drove on that mission. Later on, Lieutenant Colonel McCarty will become the Adjutant General of South Carolina National Guard.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of our soldiers and airmen who are members of the South Carolina National Guard.
The story of armor doesn't end there. As we're trying to get our vehicles ready, Secretary of Defense visited Camp
We've
Deering.
had troops in Iraq for coming up on 3 years, and we've always staged here out of Kuwait. Now, why do we soldiers have to dig through local landfills for pieces of scrap metal and compromised ballistic glass to up-armor our vehicles, and why don't we have those resources readily available to us?
I missed the first part of your question, and could you repeat it for me?
Yes, Mr. Secretary. Our soldiers have been fighting in Iraq for coming up on 3 years. A lot of us are getting ready to move north relatively soon. Our vehicles are not armored. We're digging pieces of rusted scrap metal and compromised ballistic glass that's already been shot up, dropped, busted, picking the best out of this scrap to put onto our vehicles to take into combat. We do not have proper armament vehicles to carry with us north.
I talked to the general coming out here about the pace at which the vehicles are being armored. They have been brought from all over the world, wherever they're not needed, to a place here where they are needed. I'm told that they're being, the Army is, I think it's something like 400 a month are being done. And it's essentially a matter of physics. It isn't a matter of money. It isn't a matter on the part of the Army of desire. It's a matter of production and capability of doing it. As you know, you go to war with the Army you have, not the Army you might want or wish to have at a later time.
All this was new. Trying to get armor, trying to defeat an enemy in a new tactic. Everything is new. But it's not. We learned these lessons 4 decades ago. Why weren't we ready?
weapons. This is the untold story of the gun trucks of the Vietnam War.
The Army didn't build them. We did.
18-year-old soldiers turned standard-issue trucks into 5-ton machines of destruction.
Drive that truck through the gates of hell and it'd bring them back.
This is the lost history of one of America's fiercest fighting units.
The enemy called the gun trucks the breath of the dragon.
These are the men who served, the trucks they built, and the battles they endured.
They played a vital part as much as a foot soldier, artillery, airplanes, helicopters.
These gun truck soldiers changed the war in Vietnam.
Put theirself in harm's way and take the heat off the cargo trucks.
Guns had been put on jeeps and trucks since World War I, but the Vietnam War demands a new breed of fighting machine. More ammo, more armor, more deadly.